Reading in bed. Reading in bed.
Right, Amanda. Is it Comics Unity today?
No, it's something else.
Spoken label?
Getting closer.
Our weekly show with Colleen? No, she's not here.
She might be hiding.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Printed words?
No, that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. Okay. Well, it's clearly I'm not doing Ocean the Buckle because you don't move on my music with me, do you, Zell?
Oh, dear, I'm in the top 10 charts now.
We'll be in Belgium shortly, right? Right, well, what is it then?
It's reading in bed.
Is that Reading in Unity?
Yeah, we're going to change it to reading in Unity.
Could we
And then we'll have comics in bed, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure, our friend Michael was not here today.
There are some comics you can read in bed, but I'll stay away from those.
Yeah, I think I would as well if I was you, right? So, right, of course, it is Reading in Bed. I'm Mandy N.
And I'm Amanda Steele.
Now, it's a bit of an unusual episode today, Amanda, isn't it? Because people tune into obviously to our, and it's Comics Unity, Reading in Bed. But obviously, no, we tend to usually review a book together every month, don't we?
Yeah, we've not done that this time.
Nope, we've got 6 books, 3 each. So, and it's interesting enough that the ones obviously, we'll comment on it more in a minute, but one of the books I'm going to do is nearly 900 pages.
Yeah, you had some fun with that, I remember.
Yeah, I do. It was great holding the door open, that was, so I was going to find things, the poster around the package.
Or if you think you're getting broken into and you think, I get to use this book at last.
Crap. That one, we'll come on to it in a bit, okay, but then another one I'm reading, just 68 pages. Now, and the ones you're reading, you've got a non-fiction book, haven't you?
Yeah, that was 480 pages.
And you've got a fantasy horror book that's about the same length, haven't you?
Yes, it's a Stephen King book.
Yeah, I wasn't giving spoilers
The
away.
King.
Yeah, her king is here. Anyhow, but of course, before we do that, what are we doing first?
News.
News. There's plenty of it as well, Amanda, isn't there?
Yeah.
Ladies first.
I may have mentioned once or twice that I have a book out called Ghost of Me about the main character solving her own murder, and now it's been made into an audiobook.
Yes, with a very, very talented Canadian lady, wasn't she, that narrated it for you?
She was really good.
She was exceptionally good. That was well worth checking out. And you've done a podcast of her, Amanda, haven't you? A podcast series as well, haven't you?
Yeah, she's called Valerie Moss. I've not got round to editing my side yet because I've just been crazy busy with copywriting whenever I can get work, basically. Yeah,
and of course, and then that's going to forthcome as well. Now, is it too soon to mention about the other Audible book that's on the way?
I've not had the first 15 minutes of it, so I'm not going to mention it yet. So just stay tuned, and maybe next month I'll be able to give you a little sneak preview news of it.
Yeah, that's fine. Watch that again. Now, of course, Printed Words, as we know already, the magazine is sadly finished now, hasn't it?
Yeah, we are doing a charity book under the name, but the magazine's finished.
Yeah, how's the charity book going on?
I've so far put together 24 out of the 43 readers that we've accepted, and we're up to page 100, so it's going to be very close to 200 pages, I think.
Well done. Now, is there any other news?
Yeah, I've launched a little spin-off podcast called Reading in Bed Extracts.
Yeah, now, if people are wondering, obviously, you're seeing it like every week, so there's an episode going up to this episode. That's what Amanda's doing as a sideline. What is the sideline, Amanda?
Okay, so I usually read between 600 and 1,200 words, which tends to take the podcast between 5 and 10 minutes. And it'll be a published book, an extract of that. And I get them sent to me, and for reasons I won't go into, I don't accept them all. I think we briefly touched on that in another podcast, but you'll have to...
Yeah, that was the Comics Unity episode 16, which is actually really short. Anyway, but that's still another day. That one.
So anyway, I pick some books that sound good, and I read an extract. And if people like them, they can follow the links that I include and buy them. And if there's any authors out there with a book that want to have it considered, then get in touch.
Sounds good to me. Okay, there's more news as well, isn't there?
Yes, we have a joint book coming out.
Yes, we do. End of July. And the title of it is, Amanda?
the lockdown was all we could see,
Now,
which might sound familiar to some people.
It does, because my last poetry book was the streets were all we could see. And this is very typical, this. I throw a gag at Amanda and it tends to stick.
Yeah, you threw a few suggestions at me and you threw that one, and I just really loved that because I like that title anyway, and I just like playing on that title all the time because I've got a poem that plays on that title.
Yeah, so that collection itself then was wondering is what, 7 poems each and 3 joint poems, am I right there?
Yeah, that's right.
So that makes 17 poems. It's basically what we've done is Amanda bought a chapbook out on, was it May?
May, yes, I think it was May, yeah.
Yeah, and what was your May chapbook called, about lockdown poems?
It's called Always Darkest Before Dawn.
Yeah, now, the plan at the time was we were going to do a chapbook fairly quick after that, but you had some additional poems wrote after that one, didn't you? And I've wrote a fair few, but these are the 7 I've kept back are ones that I think work well as their own voice, so to go well together in the collection with Amanda, I think. So that's why. But I've also got news, haven't I?
Ooh, what's your news?
Ocean and a Buckle, my music band.
Yeah.
Yes, it's got there's an album due out imminently. It should be out next day or two, on a Canadian label, and I thought the name was not making like XLM Records, and they've agreed to release a 2-track album called From Uranus to Neptune, to 15-16 minute drone tracks each. Later on in the year, this is the big news, Off Records in Belgium are releasing not one, how many Ocean and a Buckle albums, Amanda?
Is it 2?
It's 2, yeah. First one's going to be on around about mid-November. I think it was the 15th of November, if memory is correct. And that's going to be called Examining the Solar System. Where I've done 8 short, ambient, very drony pieces, one for each planet in the solar system. And 3 weeks later, on around about the 4th of December, there's a second album coming out called I forgot the name now. It's either Revocalising the Solar System or Vocalising the Solar System. And who's on guest vocals?
Somebody not too far away.
Yeah, Amanda's on it. And I've done 1 track.
I'm not singing, I promise. Don't let that put you off.
No, she'll make you cry for a different reason on this, right? Because it's a beautiful track she's done. But we've got there's 8 tracks on it. Me and you've done 1 each. But our friend Reggie's done a track for us.
Yeah, this was good.
It's fantastic. Chris Bainbridge, who's a Berry poet, he did a brilliant track. He did. Ian Whiteley's a Wakefield poet. He did a great track. A young lady called Melanie, who's pretty much making a debut, and it was just a beautiful track on it. And a young lad from Stratford, my old stocking ground, where Dave Bond's on the track as well. It's a really good album. It was great fun actually doing my ambient music with vocals on top of it. So, but anyway, so you can see, guys and girls, plenty of that.
Yeah, we'll just be sat around doing nothing.
In lockdown and working here, so. Right, okay. I better get onto the books, haven't we?
Yeah.
Is it me first to say?
You first, yeah.
Right, okay. My first book is going to be by Paul Auster. And what do you want to know, Amanda?
The title first and then the blurb.
4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
The blurb. And it is a bit of a long blurb, so I do apologise.
You've not heard my blurb, but it's coming up later.
Okay. Nearly 2 weeks early, on March the 3rd, 1947, in the maternity ward of Beth Israel Hospital in Newark, New Jersey, Archibald Isaac Ferguson, the one and only child of Rosa Stanley Ferguson, is born. From that single beginning, Ferguson's life will take 4 simultaneous and independent fictional paths. 4 identical Fergusons made of the same DNA. 4 boys who are the same boy, going through 4 parallel and entirely different lives. Families' fortunes diverge. Athletic skills and sex lives and friendships and intentional passions come to contrast. Each Ferguson falls under the spell of the magnificent Amy Schreisman, yet each Amy and each Ferguson have a relationship like no other. Meanwhile, readers will take in Ferguson's pleasures and ache, from each Ferguson's pains as the mortal plot of each Ferguson's life rushes on. I'm not finished yet. And as innovative, as dexterously constructed anything Paul Auster had ever written, yet with a passion for realism and a great tenderness and fierce attachment to history and to life, itself that readers have never seen from Auster before. 4321 is a marvellous and unforgettable, affecting tour de force.
Okay, so what did you enjoy about this book?
Well, it's interesting enough, this book. I've done some research on it because apparently he's not known for typing his books up. Paul Auster isn't. He types them up when the book's about finished. This one here, apparently, worked on this book 7 days a week for 3 years and wrote the lot in longhand.
Wow.
Yeah, and no typing until right to the end, and just longhand. And yeah, everyone knows the book. It is 866 pages.
You need good handwriting for that, because if I did that, by the time I got to typing it, I would have forgotten what it said.
Yeah, I know it's got a heck of a memory in this book. It really has to produce a book. Do you think yourself really like that's a heck of a project undertaking, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
And this book itself is like, to the 40s, is a story. It's a story of one person, and Archie Ferguson, told at 4 different times. And it's in 4 different versions. Now, each of the 7 chapters in the book is divided into 4 parts. So you get 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 2.1. And when you do 1.1, that's the first Archie's life. Then 1.2 is the second Archie's life.
Okay.
It took me 250 pages to work that out.
Yeah, so you was confused.
Yeah, basically. So it's like I said, it's very big. It's a heck of a book. Like I said, it's like, and it's also like they said in the blurb before, each of his relationships change in each book. So it's almost like it's a sliding door scenario, really. You know, like you've seen film sliding doors.
Yeah.
One thing has changed. This is from the beginning of his life, and it's all history's not changes. He seems to take different reactions, and it does raise a good point. Really, like when you were born in another world, is there another man still born doing something slightly different?
I don't think so. I hope she's more successful than me.
Exactly. Another man still a man of like, okay, it might be a madam and a brothel.
Yeah.
And I said,
Sounds like fun.
I know. Right, but he said the point of this book is like, seriously, the story itself follows his home life as well as college life. In some cases, very complicated love life, because some of it's really explicit.
Yeah.
One of the lives, he ends up coming accidentally becomes gay, and I'm not going to go into that because I was thinking, oh, bloody hell, this is a bit full on.
Yeah.
And then, and that's when he experienced various identity issues. You know what I mean? So things like things are different. And the story tends to go all over the place, really, because you end up, it's set in Newark, New Jersey, New York City, Paris, and even London in the 50s and 60s. And then as he grows up into the 60s, we see his different views on like the Vietnam War, civil rights demonstrations, the Kennedy election and assassination, and all kinds of things about topics like is where he is in each of his lives and the history breaks is how he reacted differently, because when the civil rights thing blew up, that was a pretty powerful book, that was actually. Really, really powerful. And did I tell you, should I tell people how I've read it, Amanda?
Yeah.
Yeah, what we did was obviously like, at the moment with when my life's going, I'm working from home. And sometimes to help me unwind at the end of the day, I've been sat at the back of a cricket ground in the back of us reading, haven't I?
Yeah.
And it took me, about 2 weeks to read this book, was it? About right now.
Yeah, I missed him when he was gone, but he came back 2 weeks later. I said, finish.
Half an hour, 40 minutes each day, but it's...
Oh, you ruined it now.
I know, shame. But like I said, but it's I think I'm glad there's a way they did it like that, because you did on the book that's this thickness, and this is not a weakness. Could you have actually took this book, say you're doing the job I do when I work in an office, could you have took this in a bag every day and read it to and from work the size of that hardback?
No, carrying it to and from work would have been too heavy, I think.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad in some way we had lockdown, because I've been sat in this book for like 2 years now, and I'm glad they had the chance to go and actually do that every day, to pop out for an hour. Because doing what I did there, it gave me the chance to breathe, really, being absorbed. So, but anyway.
So, any bad points?
Yes, there is actually. Yeah. First of all, I found Archie, the main character, very unsympathetic in a good chunk of his book, and some of the other characters, like Amy, weren't fleshed out anywhere near enough. I would say to people, one piece of advice in this book, and I wish I'd really done this, is to take notes and reminders of the different strands of the story. Because say for example, you jump back to version 1, 3 chapters after reading chapters 2, 3 and 4, it's very confusing in places. And trying to remember all the people's situations in the chapter you now started. The book was structured a bit funny, really, because because the 4 different characters, 4 different versions of Ferguson go in parallel. I said before to you, and it's much of the people that appear in each version of the book are the same, but they relate to the main character differently. And as the book goes on through the 4 different versions, and it's an intervening method, it starts to get confusing unless you were aware of the 1.1, the 2.1 at the beginning, which I wasn't.
Yeah.
It perhaps should have been put down as Ferguson 1, Ferguson 2, you know, each character like Archie 1.
Yeah.
That way you would have kept up a lot easier then. But I really enjoyed it, Championship, but it was a bloody hard book to read. And there's criticism actually, because he killed off one of the Fergusons halfway through the book.
Yeah.
So like you said, having fought 1 to 4 of them, one of them died pretty early on, third halfway in the book. So you ended up free to keep up with it. People, I read some reviews online complaining that he chickened out. But somebody then said if he'd carried on with the Ferguson 3 or something that died, it had been 1,300 page book.
Yeah.
So it wasn't easy to read because it was probably the most complex book of his I've read, but I did enjoy it. Would you read it again? That's a different matter.
No, there's not too many books I would read again, but of that size, probably none.
Exactly so. What do you reckon I'll give it out of 10?
I think you're going to give it a recommendation.
Yeah, 7.5, but again, they said it's one where you've got to be. I wouldn't recommend it reading to and from work. It's do what I did there.
Get it on a Kindle, because it's lighter.
Yeah, Kindle maybe, yeah. The audiobooks are pleased. I've heard about the audiobook and also reading the audiobook. The audiobook's really good.
Yeah.
But it goes on for 48 hours. What does that remind you of, Amanda?
That reminds me of a book that might not be done in time for next month, but it might be September. And that's all I'm saying.
Right, well, unfortunately, guys, as we've gone on for 16 minutes already this first time, we better conclude here, Amanda, haven't we? So.
Yeah.
Right, guys and girls, hang around. See you all soon. Take care. Say bye, Amanda.
Bye.
Reading in bed.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Reading in Bed.
Part 2. Now, next book up is going to be Amanda's first book this month.
Yeah, I've got a non-fiction book with a very long blurb.
Okay, you better tell everyone who the author is first.
Okay, so it's called Humankind, A Hopeful History, and it's by Rutger Bregman.
Okay, give us a blurb then, and I'll catch my breath first. I need to.
From the author of New York Times bestseller Utopia for Realists, a revolutionary argument that the innate goodness and cooperation of human beings has been the greatest factor in our success. If one basic principle has served as the bedrock of best-selling author Rutger Bregman's thinking, it is that every progressive idea, whether it was the abolition of slavery, the advent of democracy, women's suffrage, or the ratification of marriage equality, was once considered radical and dangerous by the mainstream opinion of its time. With Humankind, he brings that mentality to bear against one of our most entrenched ideas, namely that human beings are by nature selfish and self-interested. By providing a new historical perspective of the last 200,000 years of human history, Bregman sets out to prove that we are in fact evolutionarily wired for cooperation rather than competition, and that our instinct to trust each other has a firm evolutionary basis going back to the beginning of Homo sapiens. Bregman systematically debunks our understanding of all Milgram electrical shock experiment, the Zimbardo prison experiment, and the Kitty Genovese bystander effect. In place of these, he offers little-known true stories. The story of twin brothers on opposing sides of apartheid in South Africa who came together with Nelson Mandela to create peace. A group of 6 shipwrecked children who survived for a year and a half on a deserted island by working together. A study done after World War II that found that as few as 15% of American soldiers were actually capable of firing at the enemy. The ultimate goal of humankind is to demonstrate that while neither capitalism nor communism has on its own been proven to be a workable social system, there is a main option giving citizens and professionals the means to make their own choices, reorientating our thinking towards positive and high expectations of our fellow man Bregman argues will reap lasting success. Bregman presents this idea with his signature wit and frankness, once again making history, social science and economic theory accessible and enjoyable for lay readers.
Sorry. Sorry, I've slept through that, you can tell, right? Okay, Amanda, I want to ask you first of all, seriously, is what drew you to this book?
Okay, so this was another one on Pigeonhole.
And how many days did he spread this book out? About 2 months, if anything like the blurb.
It was 10 segments, but I joined halfway through, and I think I ended up having to take 20 days, because you get it so many days afterwards at your leisure as well. And I think I took about 20 days rather than the recommended 10 to get through it all.
Well, it's because there's that much to read, was there?
Well, there's 480 pages, so they're expecting you to read an average of 48 pages a day over 10 days.
That is a lot of reading, that is. Blimey. So, you had a busy month, you really, haven't you? So I know what you're doing next as well, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go into the strengths of the book?
Okay, so it was interesting. I set out with sort of thinking, I don't really see this working out. Like, humans are supposed to be kind and generally good, and I'm surrounded by idiots with what's going on in lockdown. I just didn't believe it at all. And it seemed at first as well like he was like really digging deep to try to prove that human beings are good by coming up with stories that people don't know about. But then as you go into the book, you start to think, well, yeah, the way it's reported in news and stuff like that, they do generally go for the sort of bad news stories, don't they? And it is harder to dig up anything good. But obviously it is there. Like, I'm not going to mention names, but I used to work at a local newspaper, and their tagline was, bad news sells, good news inspires, but yet they seem to focus a lot on reporting bad news, because obviously they want it to sell.
Controversy to create cash. To quote Eric Bischoff, who's from WCW, he's WCW, because that applies on that line there as well, doesn't it? So, yeah, okay. Is anything else you liked about this book in particular?
Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but before I did my first degree that was like a mixture of different subjects, I was going to do social sciences.
Yeah.
And as part of the psychology part, and also when I've studied psychology before but never finished doing it, they've covered the bystander effect. I don't know if you've ever covered that. Or
I've heard of it, but do you want to tell people who
yeah,
don't know what it is?
A big example of it, what they use, is Kitty Genovese, who was being murdered outside a block of flats, and she kept calling out for help, and the lights kept coming on. The intruder seemed to stop and then realised no one was coming to help or calling the police, and carried on. And eventually she died because no one came to help her. And then this guy, I don't know how true this is, because obviously I've only got his word for it. I've not done the research he's done. He said he dug further into this, and he actually found out that somebody did call the police, and quite a few people did. And then eventually somebody came out of their flat, and she died in their arms, waiting for the police and the ambulance and all that, and that was never reported. And all the newspapers kept saying about like how she was left to die alone, because that's the bad news in itself.
No, of course, yeah.
And the actual truth was covered up and never widely reported.
Well, they use say in news, don't they, sometimes, where it's a distortion of the facts anyway.
But if that is true, it's a little bit disturbing really, because that's one of the big things that they cover in psychology when they're talking about the bystander effect. And if it's based on a lie, then it means that you're being taught based on lies, really.
Yeah, completely, yeah. No, I get completely with it, so. Okay, is there anything else you need to say before we move on?
I've got lots of notes, but basically...
Just say as much as you want, but I don't mind. It's a fascinating topic.
Yeah, there's a lot that I've found interesting, like with the Second World War, about the 15% of soldiers who didn't fire the guns, and then the whole like peace treaty at Christmas, and it was interesting, like what made them go back and start like shooting each other again or fighting again.
Yeah, you had the same case in the First World War. Do you remember that when they did play the football match Christmas Day? Oh, what year was it? 1917. Well, they were playing football against each other in the trenches, Then a couple of hours later, they got back and they started shooting the crap out of each other. So
Yeah, but it's interesting to note that they're saying that a lot of people were reluctant to fire the guns. Like, they found guns that were still fully loaded, or if they were ordered to shoot, they'd aim like too high, so they didn't shoot the other side.
yeah,
And it was really the people that were in charge that were like trying to keep the war going, and they didn't want to be part of it.
I could believe it. You do like it's that human nature isn't we aren't cold-blooded killers.
No.
Oh,
So it's
no.
like, obviously power goes to people's heads because the people at the top, they want it to continue.
Yeah.
But generally people are just sort of pushing buttons, really, having the buttons pushed.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. So that's fascinating stuff. Don't talk about that. It does sound fascinating.
Yeah,
But
and I like the ending of it. It kind of tried to inspire people to be good and like set examples so that everyone else would be. I thought it was a nice idea, but it's just me being pessimistic. I thought, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to catch on. Sorry.
no,
Nice idea. I like it, but sorry.
no, was it? Nice try, no cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it completely that. Good. Okay, is there anything on the weaknesses side we need to discuss?
Just that he's over. I thought he was overly optimistic.
Yeah. Do you think the book, well, the length it was for that sort of topic, was that too much for him if they wanted to pigeonhole, do you think?
I think it delved into a lot, and I found the stories interesting. And then obviously the ones I recognised, like with the prison experiments and stuff like that, I just thought it was interesting seeing it from another side. Like, actually, this is what really happened, and it's like how I was taught, it happened a different way. So
So it made you think then, doesn't it, straight away as a book goes, and that's, for me, that's an important thing of any book. Then it does make you think. But like I said, it's like it took you 20 days of reading. It's a lot of reading that to get involved in that. Is that I don't know. I've never used pigeonholes. I know you use it regularly to get books here. I've never heard you mention a book like this before in pigeonholes.
no, it's usually been fiction books, and occasionally they've come up with non-fiction. They seem to be doing that more now. But I don't think I've ever come across any that have been so long before.
Yeah. If you'd realised how long it had been, do you think, if you're honest, would you have gone for it?
Maybe not, but I'm glad in a way I didn't know, because it was an interesting book, and it makes you think a lot.
Yeah. No, it does sound like you've worked hard on that book. No, I play that. Is there anything you need to say before we go on to marking?
No, I'm ready to give it a mark.
2 out of 10.
A little bit higher than that.
3.
I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10, and the only reason it loses the mark is because I'm just not a very optimistic person, and as much as I liked the ideas and I wished that they would work, I just don't believe it. So.
Yeah, Calvin, understandable. You get a stage in your life where you get cynical based, and it's sometimes being the optimist, like that guy gentleman clearly isn't always the best idea. But anyway, guys and girls, that's it, isn't it? Part 2.
Yeah, it's more to come now.
Back to me next.
Yeah.
And who am I doing next?
I have absolutely no idea.
That's your clue.
Oh, yeah, I know now. Yeah.
I know.
Think a little TARDIS flying through the space.
See you all in a few minutes, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Reading and bet.
Welcome back to Reading in Bed Part 3, and we've got a bit of a theme going here, haven't we?
What's that then, Amanda?
Long blurbs.
Oh yeah, I just realised how long this blurb was actually. So I do apologise for this. But now a couple months ago, people may or may not remember, I actually did a review on Tom Baker's autobiography. Who on earth is Tom Baker? And I didn't realise at the time that he did another one a couple of years afterwards called Tom Baker at 80, which I've now heard since, because this was an audible one. I believe it is out of the book, but I've seen it as an audible one. And this was more up-to-date version, so would you like to hear the blurb?
Yeah.
Now, I do apologise for the length of this blurb, guys and girls. I didn't realise how long this was. Oh, in fact, actually. No, it's only a very short blurb. It's alright. I lied.
Oh, we're both looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, blurb, okay. In January 2014, Tom Baker celebrated his 80th birthday. On March the 19th, Tom Baker sat down with Nicholas Briggs, who you might know the name of, Mandy, the voice of the Daleks. He was in Sandman. To look back at his 80 amazing years of youth, his early acting career, his great success at Doctor and Beyond, and his return to his most famous role with Big Finish Productions. because he's basically been doing lots of audiobooks and was Doctor Who.
Yeah.
This candid and intimate interview forms 2 fascinating hours of engaging entertainment in the unique company of Tom.
Okay, so what are the strengths?
Right, well, if you want this book to be in a straightforward, linear thing from A to Z, it's not going to happen, okay? He tells like a real storyteller in the fact where he's going all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the first book, and I told you a rather frank story about masturbation classes. You remember me telling a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
There's no mention of anything like that in this book. It doesn't seem to have like the seediness that book had, which makes me wonder whether he was telling lots of shocking stories to shock people in that book. Mm. But in this book, you hear about his childhood in a very impoverished but Catholic family in Liverpool, where the love of his mother gave him a solid base against her religion that told him he was nothing. At the time, he brought up really bad upbringing his family did. And that struggle in significance moved him from life as he ended as a trainee monk. And I still can't get my head around that, can you?
No.
Yeah. And then he became an army medic to an actor, which in the context of India, you see, his person is reasonable, not a little bit odd in any way, but it is really. Because in this interview, you learn a bit more about him and his upbringing and his Catholic faith growing up, which wasn't perhaps covered in the book as much. And the state has been poor and unable to live like more certain fortunate individuals do. But there was a lot more in this where we touch on his armoured life. He mentioned the monkey traders in his book, but in here there's a lot of an army medic. And this is the one that cracked me up was when at one point he worked as a building site labourer.
Okay.
Now this will make you laugh. There was a case one morning, he was working there for 6 months or so. He got an interview at the BBC to go and interview for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And he got offered the job. And he went back to work at the army at the building site after he was not allowed to tell anybody. So he left there about a week and a half later and didn't tell them. And you know when they found out?
And I saw him on screen.
No, and they Daily Mirror in the London. So that's why, brilliant it was. But what I forgot about him was, obviously after Doctor Who, he had a bad time in his career, he did. But he's more recent years, he's done quite a few major projects. Some of these I've seen, some I've not. He was in medics for some years. He was at BBC One as some senior physician. And did you ever see him in Randall Hopkirk Deceased with Reeves and Mortimer?
I've only really caught an episode here and there, so I might have, but just not realised.
Yeah, they did a couple of seasons of that. And
yeah.
Originally, it was brought in as a one-off because I think it was Vic Reeves was a massive fan of him growing up. It was his doctor.
Yeah.
The opportunity came with it. And the audience loved him that much. They brought Tom Baker back into the last episode of that first season. And he was in 2-3 years after that. So he was quite regular. That's why. And then he did, not long after that, he did Monica the Glen. Have you ever seen that?
No.
That's one of my dad's favourite programmes, that. And my dad moaned it. I remember at the time my dad moaning about Tom Baker being in that. So he was putting everybody off all the time. It was in his mind.
Mm.
But there was a story in this where he went on about Monica the Glen, where I don't think he liked Scotland very much. I think he liked cities more than actual rural.
Yeah. And
what he did was the pig of a dog tracking him down. But when he wasn't needed, he kept going off on long drives all over Scotland. They were ringing him up and discovering he's like 100 miles away from when they needed him. Just drive straight back in a hired car from them. His their petrol bills were over the roof apparently. Mm-hmm. But then he did Little Britain, didn't he?
Vaguely remember.
He was a narrator in all the seasons of Little Britain.
Yeah.
That's why. So, but I think it basically seemed to like he'd pick him up with that, like all the children who grew up with his work in the Doctor in the 70s ended up giving him work once they were established in the industry themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like it was an engaging interview. It really, really was engaging because Nicholas Briggs basically stayed in the background and just kept pushing him, tried to let him do the lead basically, and just trying to steer him like a steering wheel in a car basically. Yeah. I know.
Okay, so are there any weaknesses?
Yes, there was actually, because episode 40 was great fun to listen to, but it's very, very scattershot in places, i.e. all over the place, where perhaps it could have been done in a much more set structure to make it easy to listen to. It doesn't ruin your enjoyment that way, unlike Who on Earth is Tom Baker, he felt like he was telling the truth all here. And when his previous book, Who on Earth is Tom Baker, I think he was just doing things to shock people. When you got over the fact was, it felt weird really, because in the beginning of it felt like he had to persuade it to do this. At the beginning, you know what I mean? There's an edge there is.
Yeah.
But like it was thinking, oh, do I have to do this? I was a contract, I'm going to do it, other than that sort of attitude.
Yeah.
But when he gets going after 20 minutes, half an hour, then you can tell he's got a great time with it.
Yeah.
And I bet the outtakes were hysterical. But anyway, that's it.
Okay, so is it a recommendation?
What do you think?
I think it's going to be.
Yeah, 8. 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I could have listened to another hour or two of that quite easily. It was funny. I really enjoyed it. So, right, guys and girls. Into part 3.
Yeah.
I know I was noticing the timings now. We're getting these timings down slightly over everyone now, Amanda, aren't
Yeah, we usually start off like full of life and then we gradually start cutting down and falling asleep as we go along.
Yeah, that's pretty what we've done now. So.
Which is what everyone listening probably does.
Yeah, they're probably thinking, oh no, not another part. Not another part. Why are you doing 24 parts this month, guys? Well, thankfully we've done 6 this time, so we're at the halfway stage, guys. So, but anyway, we'll take a quick break and we're back to Amanda then. And I don't know what you're doing next, Amanda, though.
I'm doing the book.
Are you doing a book, are you? Yeah. What, are you getting on top of the book to do it, or are you just doing the book?
I'm reviewing the book.
Alright, so I don't know what you're on about then. If you're doing a book, can you come in anything? I know, guys, go seriously. Now we've dropped the conversation down to explicit levels.
Level, yeah.
To dirty levels. So you're soon, okay? Take care. Say bye, Amanda.
Bye.
Reading in bed.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Reading in Bed.
Part 4. Now, this is Amanda's second book today.
Well, Andy wants to say something.
I do indeed, yes. Now, I've only just had the confirmation come through in between breaks, actually. But I said before about a Canadian label that's released an Ocean and the Buckle single. It is coming out this Wednesday coming, which the date of recording is the 4th of July, Saturday the 4th. So that makes it, I'm not sure I get the dates right for you now. It's Wednesday next week. So that's going to be 5th, 6th, 9th, Wednesday the 9th of July from Uranus to Neptune. It's going to get released on XY Limb Records. Okay, right, straight over to Amanda.
So my next book is called Keep Him Close by Emily Koch, and it was the audio book that I listened to rather than reading it.
Was this we've reviewed a book of this lady before?
Yeah, it was called If I Die, I think, or something along those lines.
Yes, it was. I remember that one because If I Die was a fantastic
If I Die
book.
Before I Wake, that was it.
That was a fantastic book. That one it was a few years ago. That wasn't
Yeah.
it as well? Because we've been doing this now for 2.5 years, and was that in the first year we did of that book?
Yeah, I think this was back when Goodreads were doing giveaways in the UK, because I think I won a copy from them. It was a really big hardback.
Yeah, because there was one there. You finished the book off and passed it over to me, didn't you? So
Yeah.
I remember that book. Well, that was a good book. That was. Okay, what is this a follow-up book?
No, it's not set in.
No, not a sequel. The second book that's come after this.
Yeah, it's classed as crime, but we'll get onto that later.
Well, it's a crime to read it, or it's just a crime.
Yeah.
Right.
Shall I read the blurb?
Tibet's on the title of the book first.
Like I said, it's called Keep Him Close.
Keep him close. Sorry, I forgot to. Okay. Okay. Read the blurb then.
Okay. One son lied. One son died. Alice's son is dead. Indigo's son is accused of murder. Indigo is determined to prove her beloved Kane is innocent. Searching for evidence, she is helped by a kind stranger who takes an interest in her situation. Little does she know that her new friend has her own agenda. Alice can't tell Indigo who she really is. She wants to understand why her son was killed, and she needs to make sure that Indigo's efforts to free Kane don't put her remaining family at risk. But how long will it take for Indigo to discover her identity, and what other secrets will come out as she digs deeper? No one knows a son like his mother, but neither Alice nor Indigo know the whole truth about their boys and what happened to them on that fateful night.
Right. Okay. What made you want to go to the audiobook version of this?
I mean, just because it was on my list and I had an audiobook subscription at the time.
Ah, fair enough then. So, was it quite a long audiobook you wanted to go through, was it?
It took about maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
So, I mean, it wasn't like, several hundreds of hours of listening and basically.
No.
That's fine, okay. No, because I know you've got a book coming up, haven't you? That we'll talk about in a bit, right?
Yeah.
That might take a while. I know. Okay, so what's all the strengths of this book?
Okay, so obviously I can't see the words written down, so I've only got to go on, the words being read out. But it seemed like it was well written and the characters were well developed. And I like the way the two stories sort of weave together of the mothers who have both lost their sons in different ways.
So it basically was operating on two different time zones, and basically, wasn't it?
It kind of alternated from the points of view between the mother that's lost her son and the mother because he's died, and the mother that's lost her son because she is in jail for killing the boy who's died.
Yeah, I get it completely. So they're quite difficult to do, those sort of books, because you're not just like one lead character, are you?
No.
You're building up two worlds basically that conflict. And I'm not going to say did you like either of the characters, did you engage with both of them?
I could kind of understand where they were both coming from, but they also had their weak points as well. Like, she seemed to be the typical mother, like, oh, my boy wouldn't do that. Whether he did or do that or not, I'm not going to say. But
yeah, that's the case. Read the book. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I get it completely. So, okay, so what else do you want to talk about this thing?
Yeah, so I'm going to move on quickly to the bad or the less good anyway. I would have thought it would be crime considering her first book, and it felt more of a family drama than the psychological thriller that it said it was. I suppose it's hard to pull off because it was focusing on the two mothers, so it's always going to have that sort of family element to it.
Yeah, how did it compare to her first book?
It could have been a different author, I felt.
Oh, it's a completely different style, was it?
It just didn't feel like the same level of writing as the first book.
Not as good, or just
not as good.
I'm so sorry to hear that one. That's not good at all.
So I remember, I think I found her blog a while back, and she'd announced on it that she had a deal for 2 more books. And I was really excited when I read the first book, and the second book was just a bit disappointing compared to the first book.
Yeah.
If I'd picked it up and read it, having not read that, I might have thought it's alright, but obviously you're going to always compare the first book if it's really good.
Yeah. It's the interesting point is you're dealing with a lot of writers on it. You like a lot of your favourite music bands that come out, they get an album out, don't they?
Yeah.
If it's the first time, you don't know how long they've been working on that album for. The second album is always a more interesting one because you see how good a band they are then. It's like, because they've got a lot less time to do it, they have to produce it quicker.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder with this book whether that's the same situation there. Or is this an older manuscript or something that she pulled out?
I got the feeling that she was writing it because she got the 2-book deal after the first book.
Yeah, so this might have been right, and like I said, just after she might have rushed it. I don't know. Either way, is there anything else you want to say about this book, Amanda?
Yeah. I think if I'd been reading it on Kindle, I probably would have lost interest part of the way through. And even on the audiobook, I just kept losing interest in certain places. But it's easier to push on with audiobook because all you have to do is just sit down and listen.
Yeah, don't know. What's the narration any good?
Yeah, the woman seemed to pull off both different characters, and you could tell when she was doing one mouth than the other.
That's good. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about, Amanda?
No, I'm ready to give it a mark.
Go for it then.
I'm going to give it a 7, so it's a recommendation, but only just.
Okay, so yes. I mean, it's one of those close call ones, basically, isn't it? So
yeah.
Sorry to hear that. Okay, and that been it, guys and girls.
That's the end of this part.
Yeah, and part 4.
More to go.
As always, you know this. I'm going to do something a bit more shorter next time, and a bit more brief.
Well, you might.
I am, right? So I know you asked me. I'm giving hints away today here, so giving like I've done a slight hint, didn't I? So
yeah.
This one's a bit shorter, next one. So yeah, you'll see what I mean today, guys. Okay, say goodbye, Amanda.
Bye.
See you all in a minute.
Reading in bed.
Welcome back to Reading in Bed. We've had the yoki break.
Oh yeah, very nice. I know that was. Anyway, unfortunately, guys, because we've done quite a lot of recording today, so it's a case we needed a break for 10 minutes. So, okay, we're on to part 5 now, Amanda, aren't
we? Yeah.
It's my turn now again, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. What have you got for us?
Right. Well, I promised you something a bit more brief before, didn't I? Shorter.
Yeah.
So why not nothing better to do with a short stories collection? This one's printed by Fly on the Wall Press. It's by an American gentleman. I think American, isn't it? Called Kevin Crowe. And the story is called book is called No Home in the World. It's a funny one because there's no actual blurbs about what the book stands for. In fact, just a quote from a couple of people. So I'm going to basically read out one of the quotes here, okay? So, okay, this is by Brendan Gibbsby, an editor. I'm a strong advocate of this short story as a literary form. Indeed, I've penned many of them. I've published 7 collections of them for the last 8 years. I've run Matt Storytellers, a website dedicated to showcasing the work of Scottish collected short story writers, including the work of the author. When I read these latest tales of his, I truly wish Matt Storytellers was still operating, so I had the pleasure of publishing them on the site. Okay, that's one of the blurbs. Now, this book is brief. It is a very, very short book, okay? And it's, would you believe, it's 6 short stories. And it's somewhere around about 68, 69 pages. Which is, you think it's short, isn't it? That really short. Yeah, the 6 tales. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about the first couple of pieces here, okay? It's easier because the story behind these are all bleak stories. Okay. Don't expect many happy endings and endings because they're all from that tragedy and depression in them. Okay. It's not the best way to look at it being like, say you get a Netflix TV series. I've got typical one of them. They want you to binge watch them, don't they? Yeah. And when you're doing, do if you agree, man, the short stories, that's the point. Maybe you read one, go on to another, isn't it?
But on the other hand, it could just be like if you don't have time and you can just dip in and out.
Yeah, this is a dip in and out book straight away because the books are all 6 of the stories are pretty heavy. I found it when I read one, I couldn't read them that day. It was too much. Yeah. Now, you've got basically like the first story is called The Roots of Their Raising. This is a pretty disturbing story of account of unintentional incest. Okay. Of a story of failed parenting and eventual adoption, where two people, guy and woman get together and find out afterwards that they're a couple, or they're related, and he breaks it off basically, and he can't deal with it. And I don't want to give too much away, but the damage it does to Gail, the sister, is very volatile. And it's no wonder you really happened to her background, and it left quite a few emotional scars in this book. So at the end, oh God. What a start to a book reading that out. It was horrible. But very, very well wrote. But it was, you know what I mean? It was just, I thought, was like, what on earth made the bloke write that for a story? And it was like, and then it's like, it was a good piece, but then he goes into a story called No Home in This World, which touches on a quite complex issue of asylum and the horrors of homophobia in intolerable nations. Yeah. And it's a pretty horrible story. Again, this starts off, we end up with a guy, I think he was an ex-prisoner, and he goes to another country to escape his past, and he was gay, I think he was gay as well, and he gets in this other country and he realises the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and by the end of it, oh, poor man. You mean like, you get those first 2 stories like it's just, well, tell me what you think. It's pretty heavy going, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I suppose this stuff kind of happens in real life.
Yeah, it does really, so
it's realistic fiction then.
Yeah, very, very realistic, and he told a lot of both those stories in 20 pages? More than 30 pages. The third one is, he goes, this is my favourite one of the books actually. The only one that I finished at the whole picture as well, was Moonlight Sonata. It was he talked about the futility of war and the devastation, the lasting horror it leaves on people. And because this one here, where it was a teacher that was wrapped up in sexual assault allegations against a minor, and it was just pretty horrible to read. But it had I think this was the piece where it had almost a bit of hope in this piece. Was at the end of it where basically a man, he met someone at the end of it to help him release the demons that he had basically. Yeah. Right, okay. The only one, I'm not going to talk about the last 2 pieces. I'll talk about the 4th one to finish off with here. Because I can't, you know what I mean? You can't have a weakness and strengths, can you, in short story books? You just talk about the books. This is a quite topical one at the moment. And when it just wrote, it clearly couldn't be planned. Called The Dinner. It talks about slavery and racism. And considering what we're going through in this country and the world at the moment, is basically where he ends up with him, slave and his master going to a dinner, and it showed basically where his master wanted him with him at all times, and he wasn't allowed to be. And when he tried to bring over the problems they then hit, like in the fact was how everybody else basically reacted that way, and that was quite a very, very interesting story indeed. So it made you think about it in a lot of ways. So. Yeah.
Okay. So, anything else you want to say?
No, I'm not going to touch on the last two stories because there's one story in particular where the last story's called Texas Condoms. You just got to read that one, okay?
Interesting title.
Yeah, like I said, but no. Is there anything you want to ask me, Amanda, about this?
No, there's nothing I can think of.
No, I can't offer weaknesses because as I said, each of those 4 pieces are good in different ways, and 5 and 6 again, you make your own mind up on them. I think if I'm honest, that perhaps it's a difficult one because when you're doing those sort of books, do you want to keep it that length of book, or should you have another couple of stories to read?
It depends really. It's like I don't know what the price is, but people want to feel like they're getting their money's worth, don't they?
Yeah, the price of the book is $7.99 here. I can see down here.
It is the book, but a little bit pricey, I suppose.
Possibly, yeah. But again,
I suppose if you're going through a publisher, though, it's always going to be a little bit more, isn't it? Because it's more.
Yeah.
It has to be cut up in more ways than
the
coffee stuff.
Well, I said I enjoyed it. I generally did enjoy it, and I found it interesting, the fact is, when I read up on this afterwards, he actually wrote, I don't know if he still does this, but he wrote all these working in a bookshop.
Yeah.
So that's one way, isn't it, I suppose?
See how that would work.
You want to get an inspiration of, like I said, of all kinds of inspirations, bits and pieces like. So, yeah, no, it's good stuff. I've not just put Mark down here, but I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a recommendation.
I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very good book. But like I said, but it's not one you can dip it. It's one you have to dip in and out of, not go at once. Anyway, guys and girls.
That's the first part, but there's one more part to come.
Yeah. So are we bowing down to the king next?
King, all hail the mighty king.
Yeah, be my guest. That's a hint, okay? Right, see you all in a minute. Say bye, Amanda.
Bye, Amanda.
Reading in bed.
Hi guys, yes, okay, it's finally over to part 6, Amanda, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long episode today. Sorry about this, guys, but this does happen when we're doing 6 books basically. So we'll see how we go this one. But I think this looks like it was another fairly lengthy book. So we'll see. We'll keep entertaining for you. Okay, Amanda, who is the book?
So this month I read The Institute by Stephen King.
Yeah. Now, did I get you this one for Christmas the other year?
You did. So I actually got round to reading it quite quickly compared to some books. Some books lie there for years before they get picked up.
Yeah, I got you this one. Was it the same year you got me that 4321 by Paul Auster? About 2 years ago, basically, wasn't it?
That was last year.
Last year. Mine was the year before.
Yeah.
So, I did alright then. So, okay, what made you want to go back to this book now then?
I was starting to go through the physical books before I got enticed by all the free books online. So I went for the big book to get it out of the way.
Yeah, and it's quite a funny story here, isn't there, Amanda? Because you turned around and said, "Oh, I'm going to get rid of my big books now." And I said to her, "Do you want to get rid of my big book, which is the Paul Auster one?" Then you said, "Oh yeah."
You somehow got it into your head that my book was as long as your book, and then when you found out it was about 480 odd pages, you were like, "Oh, that's nothing. Look at the size of this book."
Yeah,
and then it went a bit like Crocodile Dundee. Then call that a book. This is a book.
Yeah, and everyone's wondering, we might give a hint away in a bit. Yes, of a book that Amanda's currently started working on. That may be by Stephen King as well.
Yeah, but that could be September at this rate.
But anyway, tell us about the Institute.
Okay, so here's the blurb. In the middle of the night, in a house on a quiet street in suburban Minneapolis, intruders silently murder Luke Ellis's parents and load him into a black SUV. The operation takes less than 2 minutes. Luke will wake up in the Institute, a room that looks like his own, except there's no windows, and outside his door are other doors, behind which are other kids with special talents, telekinesis and telepathy, who got into this place the same way Luke did. Kalisha, Nick, George, Iris, and 10-year-old Avery Dixon. They are all in front hall. others Luke learns graduated to back half. Like the Roach Motel, Kalisha says you check in but you don't check out. In the most sinister of institutions, the director, Mrs. Sixby, and her staff are ruthlessly dedicated to extracting from these children the force of their extra-normal gifts. There are no scruples here. If you go along, you get tokens for the vending machines. If you don't, the punishment is brutal. As each new victim disappears to back half, Luke becomes more and more desperate to get out and get help, but no one has ever escaped from the Institute.
It's a bit like the X-Men, this really, isn't it? It's like the bad version of the X-Men.
They actually compared themselves to a really lame version of the X-Men in the book, because the telekinesis and the telepathy is actually quite tame. Like maybe at best they might be to move a coaster, or they might get the odd word or something that someone's speaking.
Yeah,
but obviously what they're working on in this institute is to try and increase that and use it for their own goals, which I won't tell you what those goals are.
But they aren't good.
No.
Understandable. Okay. First of all then, strengths.
Okay, so it starts off with a character that just like disappears for 200 pages afterwards.
Good start. Good start. Very simple.
And wasn't mentioned in the blurb, but like I said to you at the time, he's going to come back up again because otherwise there was no point mentioning him. And then like 200 pages in, like never mentioning him again.
I remember Gavin did reading a book once by a guy who writes Brand Lumley. It was worse than that. Started off with 70 pages of the advertised character. Then it jumps back 4,000 years, the next 300 pages.
Yeah.
And eventually brings it all together. But
I feel like it pulled it off, and most people would assume, okay, that character's going to pop up again. But it's Stephen King as well, and I think he can get away with a little bit more than most authors can.
Yeah, of course. So, okay, with it being such a long book then, was the pacing really good, do you think? Did it have a good hook?
Yeah, there's a bit, well, I'm not going to say what happened, but you obviously know that's not going to be the end of it because you're only halfway through the book by that point, so you know there's got to be more to it than that. And that's probably, if I was writing the book, that would be where I ended it, which is why my books are so short. And Stephen King just continues it and makes it work and doubles the length of the book.
Yeah, he goes on for that, said 1,200 pages in a certain book I'm thinking of at the moment.
This is like a little novella compared to that.
Oh yeah, completely. Now obviously, strengthfulness, seriously, what's there anything else you need to talk about?
Yeah, there's probably another thing that's partly down to the fact that it's Stephen King, but it gets away with this as well. Like, there's nobody safe in his books. Like, normally, there'd be an unspoken rule that children and animals are safe and bad things might happen, but they'll all come out of it okay. It's like Stephen King in the past, I've read books where animals, particularly dogs, and maybe children or teenagers are just like been killed off very quickly and not always nicely in the first few pages.
Yeah, of course. Oh dear.
So it's normally, the sort of a safety net, isn't it? But this is like, you just know, nobody's safe, everyone can die. So
All
just because this is about a lot of children doesn't mean they make it all out alive.
That's why we're disappointed they did, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, just like the imagination. I don't know where he gets his ideas from sometimes.
Yeah. Certainly I said this one. The trouble is, like I said, he writes 1 to 2 books a year now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He writes 250 pages in this book, and this book, that's a novella for him. And when he starts going into it chapter now, or The Stand maybe, they start going on forever and ever, don't they? So.
Yeah, you could look at this and you could think, oh, it's far-fetched, but then when you start thinking about it, there are little bits where you think, well, what if there were children who have telekinesis or telepathy? And would, like, the authorities do what they're doing in this book to them? And you can't completely rule it out.
No, completely, yeah. Get completely rid of it, so. Oh, fair play.
So, yeah, it gets inside your mind and it just makes you question yourself, I suppose, which is a good thing because it's mixing fiction with possible fact and what would happen.
Yeah. No. Interesting. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Weaknesses?
No weaknesses.
Wow. Dun, dun, dun. Here, say that again, Amanda.
No weaknesses.
What's that again, Amanda?
I can't think of a single weakness.
Does that mean Does that mean you're going to get a high rating then, does it?
Yeah. What do you think it's going to be?
It's got to be a 10.
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10.
If you had no weaknesses, it means there had to be like so then straight away. There was nothing you disliked about the book, and that meant no weaknesses.
Yep. So go out and buy it because it's really good and he's the king.
Yeah. And on top of that, go and buy some Amanda Steele's novels as well, don't you?
Yeah, she's not quite as good as Stephen King.
Ghost to Me is pretty good.
She might get somewhere close.
Yeah, Ghost to Me. It goes to me now. That's close to Stephen King territory, isn't it?
Maybe.
Right, anyway, guys and girls, that's it for this month now, seriously. Okay, we're going to give a few spoilers away for next month, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm currently reading some non-fiction, actually. I don't know if it's a bloke or a woman, it's actually called D. Brown, and the book's called Showdown at Little Bighorn. That's a historical book set in the Wild West. And I know the story, but it's been really gripping read so far.
I have a non-fiction book, which is about people being outraged by things that maybe they shouldn't be outraged by.
Interesting.
And possibly an audio book by the King. But I might not get it read in time because it's very long.
Yeah, and we've hinted already what it might be, haven't we?
I'll just say that it's 47 hours and 47 minutes of listening.
Yeah, and the book itself is around about 1,200 pages.
Yeah.
So I read it to my kid.
I'm not going to say what it's called, but it's not The Sit. Let's just say that. It's the opposite of The Sit.
Yeah, definitely. How are you finding that book so far, then?
Yeah, I'm finding it interesting, especially reading it now.
I know, yeah. I think you're pretty good.
I know you can't really compare it to what's happening now, but obviously it's still going to be in the back of your head at the same time.
Yeah, no, definitely. What I want to know as well, Amanda, if anything else in mind for next month, maybe you can reveal?
Could be a supernatural book in there.
Cool. I don't want to be honest with you. I don't know my other two books going to be yet. I'm probably going to approach them next month. And I did go and get a couple of books on the Kindle, so I'll pick one of them out to read.
So I'm reading quite a lot at the moment, so I might have choices because I'm not going to go over 3 books because we'd be here forever if we did that.
Well, we're here already anyway, so forever. So, whatever, guys and girls. Amanda?
Okay.
That's this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Episode 31, done and dusted. See you all next month.
And if you want to have your extract written, get in touch with me.
Speak to the boss.
Yeah.
Not the king, the boss. See you all soon, guys and girls. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Reading and bet. Reading and bet.